It's hashtag trending with David Connolly and Nick Morton. How are you, Nick?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I've been told it's been a Black Monday, it was a Black Friday, it was a Black weekend. Is America just gone racist? What's that about? I don't understand.
I think we're facing just a black 4 years.
A black.
It's only 4 years of blackness.
And have they done a recount yet, or are they just going to just talk about it for the next 3 years? Do you think? How's that one?
I think they're trending? In it. I think they're in it. You know. But as someone on Twitter pointed out, if Jill Stein was so worried about how a few thousand votes might tip the election to Donald Trump, maybe she should have thought seriously about that before she ran.
Yeah. Do you mind giving all your votes to somebody who could actually be president rather than me tree-hugging Jill Stein with a wacky
the best
song
thing,
from the
though,
60s?
is like Trump coming out and saying that he would have won the popular vote if not for the millions of illegal votes that happened during the election.
I must admit, Twitter was kind of fun, wasn't it? Because he couldn't use his 140 characters when he could use 1,000. So he just kept continuing ranting, didn't he? It was about 5 tweets that you had to join together, where he was going, "This is so unfair, so unfair." Yeah, I was reading those. Yeah,
the most outrageous of them was the claim that the election results are not. I mean, he basically he's like trying to shoot Jill Stein down for doing this recount, and then he comes out and says, well, actually the results are totally illegitimate anyway. So I mean, I don't know if that isn't an argument for doing a recount. I don't know what is. I mean, I'm not necessarily, I don't want anyone to think that I'm all for the recount, except in as much as it just makes Donald Trump crazy. I do love that aspect of it.
Well, I have to say, did you have the fortune or misfortune of reading his unedited version interview in the New York Times? Which took me.
I haven't bothered. I've been reading a lot of the commentary, but I haven't actually read the.
It took me several days because it is unedited, so no one can argue that they were making up anything. It was kind of incredible how he would contradict himself within a paragraph on policy or whatever, really, and how he was desperate to please everybody in the room and give them.
He's pathetic. The man is pathetic.
Yeah,
I mean. One of my favorite pathetic developments here has been his notion that he's entertaining David Petraeus to be Secretary of State.
I saw that was trending.
Yes, that is trending right now, and I kind of like that idea. I have to say, like he's like one of the few like bona fide professionals that the Trump transition has actually chosen to meet with. Yeah. But I mean. If it isn't the most hypocritical thing ever to hire the guy who actually gave top secret information to his girlfriend when the person that you were running against who actually had that job you claim should be in jail for doing far less. I just like... Lock him up. I mean, it's totally insane. And then you have Kellyanne Conway going out over the weekend and just bashing Mitt Romney on all the shows.
I know. And, what did Mitt Romney do to Kellyanne Conway? Come on, discuss. Something happened there, didn't it? She wants him to apologize for something.
Everyone says that, I think the reason Kellyanne Conway can get away with shit like that is because, let's face it, Trump doesn't listen to anything a woman says anyway, so it's like she's basically free from the sort of Trump fury.
What's amazing, I suppose, all the talk since the election has been like, who's going to be the Secretary of State? And it seems to be like, they've had about 5 or 6 people now. Is there anybody else that they should be considering? Or is it just like the whole nation is up for it? I mean, I've not had a call of you, but I'm half expecting one at any moment. Because that job is going. I don't know who to. I mean, and apparently she was asking her, she said that Mitt Romney hadn't been flying enough. And then at one point she said, with the next Secretary of State is not going to be flying around that much. So I couldn't quite work out where she was going with it. Any ideas?
Well, apparently they want Mitt to make a public apology.
An apology,
to His Holiness, the Donald. Before they will allow him to advance, and he doesn't seem inclined to do that. I hope to hell he doesn't do that.
Wrong.
If that's the price for joining the Trump administration, forget it. I mean, but of course that eliminates pretty much everyone who's ever worked in government, because there was pretty much there were no responsible, elected officials or lifetime government people who had anything nice to say about Donald Trump.
No,
and the other thing trending, and I know we're probably almost out of time, is Steve Bannon, who just gets in there no matter what. I think he's trending because the New York Times did a profile piece on him today in which they tried to kind of elucidate Steve Bannon, and a lot of it was fairly positive. I mean, one of the funny things is like people today who were friends with him at Harvard Business School just don't recognize him. And it's not because his political views are so different than they were back then. It's because he's so bloated and fat and blotchy and weird looking that they literally just don't recognize him.
Yeah.
But the other thing he goes on to say in this thing, and here's the incendiary thing, is that he did say at one point that home ownership should be the litmus test for whether or not you can vote. And one of his employees said, well, that would actually rule out a lot of African Americans from voting, to which Steve Bannon apparently replied, maybe that's a good thing.
We've got to leave it on that one. Let's leave it on some great racism at the end there from Steve Bannon. Yeah. If you had any doubt, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Let's talk tomorrow, Nick.
All right, bye.